It's we're live. Hi everyone, welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and with me tonight is, of course, my co-host with the mostest, Techy Joe. Hi, darlings.
Hello.
So, how's your shit topical week going?
Well, that sums it up. Welcome to 2020. It's the blurth of blur.
I don't know. It's just one of those. It's like, oh, can we just get my to-do list done before we create another one?
No. That's not how to-do lists work. It's like washing socks. You always end up with too few or too many.
Yep.
Like you never can just like be done.
Uh-huh.
It's always a continuing search. Hello, Mika, Catherine, and Brenda.
Wow. Hello, guys. How are you? And hello to the other two watching that hasn't commented yet.
Oh, well, there we go. Well, and everyone else who's going to watch later or listen later.
Or listen later.
Say hello to them.
Hello, everyone listening in Ethernet land.
Oh.
It has been a week, and the shitstorm just keeps flying.
Mm-hmm. Well, but at least some things are getting a little more normal, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know. It seems like we finally got a little closer on the projected, and I think everyone took a deep breath.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I'm feeling that.
I'm feeling that I won't know anything until January 22nd.
Okay. It's a weird time. But what?
January 22nd.
Well, the swearing in was January 20th.
It is.
Okay. So
I think it'll take 2 days for the Secret Service to move the crying baby out of the White House.
Oh. I'm sure that they can, dangle an underage girl just off the property. Like, carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Well protected.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question for you. Do you think as soon as he is no longer POTUS, Twitter will shut down his Twitter account?
Oh. They've got to be bantering that one around. Hi,
Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Now, Brenda, did he bring an extra large suitcase big enough to fit a 5'2" to 5'10" person in it to go back across the border?
There he is. We'll wait for that answer.
I know. She's
like
probably mad and getting it in the car.
Well, granted, if he did, like, I could lose a section of leg between the knee and ankle, and I think be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd be cute with, like, a penguin waddle.
Well, what I find interesting is the British government has called Biden. In Queening, I do believe the Queen, I know the MP did, but normally the Queen makes a call.
Oh, here on the show. No, we're scared of us too. That's totally cool. We're right there with you, Michael. Yeah, no. Like, yeah, no, we totally understand. We're just basically joking around about it. Like, we figured you were sane, and crossing the border was a bad idea. Okay, so sorry, a couple of shows back we actually got into a conversation since we have a Canadian.
Okay.
Like, do you want to go through that list we had? Just to see
why we should move Aeson Enterprises to Canada?
No, not that one. The other one, the one we were going through where it's like, it's just a quiet news day in Canada.
No.
It's like, it's cold. The Americans are stupid. There was a moose incident. Or what did I say? I don't know.
I think that's about the sums of what you said. And I'm like, no, they actually pay attention to the other stuff going on. Because, yes, Americans are stupid. More and more, I keep waiting for an invasion to happen. Or is that praying for an invasion to happen? Like,
well, now they're
coffee.
Now there has been the thing going around on Facebook. It's the modified, like the aliens show up and like we've killed all your leaders, and everyone's like, "Oh, thank God!" And the aliens are like, "Wait, what?" And it's like, you don't understand. Like, no, you don't understand.
Well,
It's been crazy.
again, Canada is the one of the best, nicest countries. They instantly had a plan on how to take care of COVID. They instantly put in measures to take care of COVID. They've got a better looking, younger leader than us that actually makes sense.
Who was very quick to congratulate Biden.
I know.
As was every other world leader who's like, no, 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 no.
Well, Angela Merkel had a whole video conference with him about a new interaction going on.
Mm-hmm.
Top news in Germany. They were holding their breath because they were just waiting for World War III.
Well, basically, I think that's where the whole world has been. Is it's like, oh God, could we not?
Well, if anybody will remember, during his vice presidency, vice president, President Biden's vice presidency, Angela Merkel's phone got tapped. And that was a very big problem because one, she's a diplomat and she should have diplomatic immunity, and two, it was supposed to be a secure line for the German government to her.
Wait, was that in the like list of issues with cell phones?
Yes.
Because there was that whole time period that like that was like the whole Snowden thing. And like the whole world got afraid to talk on a phone when they're like, really, world leaders right now? Like, seriously, that's where we're at? Like, woo! Like,
Right.
that's so crazy. Yeah, basically. I think everyone is doing the big, like, whew, I can breathe again.
Well, I watched their it's very equate to our Congress. He has to stand up there and defend himself against them.
Okay.
Okay. House of Lords and Commons. I really think the Americans should have kept that when they formed their government. I would have loved to have seen someone babble, you're doing X, Y, and Z, and your response. I want to see that out of any president, have to stand up there and defend himself in front of Congress.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That would actually be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I could see that working. Of course, then again, I would just love a government system that is not built around two fighting parties, as instead just like one great big table. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like we got into that like if we could just represent all the parties
mm-hmm.
and just talk it out,
mm-hmm.
and not like screw the whole lobbyist thing and screw the whole like screwed up thing of like lifetime appointment, or the never ending election where they just keep getting voted in.
Kathy, you have no idea on how busy it's been. Currently on Aeson's to-do list is participating in a YouTube challenge. That means videos have to get put out every day. That means Joe has to do some editing or something for him. Then we have 2 clients with Mystic that we're negotiating with. Then at the same time, we've got Aeson coming up on 3 anniversaries this month and figuring out, okay, so what do you do with someone that has been on the air in over a decade, been with a certain network 15, 16 years? Oh, yeah, and then, we have to renegotiate our agreement because today makes 3 years that we've had an agreement.
Well, there we go. Hello. So, yeah, lots of things going on.
All at once.
Well, yeah, and like I haven't mentioned on the show, wasn't trying to get like the outpouring, but yeah, also this past weekend there was my brother's memorial service. You had a class. Yeah, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we've had a whole lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And we got the newsletter out. We got the
newsletter out.
Like Friday, Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, newsletter Friday, Memorial Service Saturday, class on Sunday. Monday, we've been trying to figure out what to do with November because it's been a shit show. And then, of course, every business is going crazy.
And thank you, Kathy. But yeah, no, I was trying to like not turn it into that show, but yeah. Like, I figure at some point, yeah. So my oldest brother passed about a week and a little change ago, the 22nd of October. Well, a little more than a week, about 2 weeks ago. Time flies when you're not having fun. You know, bad joke. But yeah, so yes, and thank you, Brenda. So if I've been a little out of it the last few shows, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know. I think we've gotten into that comment before, and the situation, thank you, Michael, is like, I'm just, I don't know. It's kind of that thing of, I've buried a lot of people.
Mostly in October.
Oh, the October, well, yeah, this end of the year. But no, it's just like I've been to a lot of different services. I've been told a lot of things. Sometimes it just all feels like one big, long funeral. And because people end up saying like the same things, and then you have the people that have like the funeral outfit. So every time you've seen them at a funeral, they wear the same thing, or a memorial, whichever. And it's like, I don't know if you said that when mom passed or when dad passed, and it just all kind of blurs together after a while. It's like one big service of like, so sorry for your loss, so sorry for your loss, so sorry if there's anything I can do to help, blah.
Hey, that started our relationship, mister.
Hey, well, that's not untrue. That is very true.
Yes.
But yeah. But I'm still saying though, like, there's a lot of that.
I know.
And it's not that I like hate people for saying it. It's like I understand it, but after a while, it's kind of like, yeah, heard that one.
Yeah.
Like,
at the same time, it's a lot of emotional stuff all at once. And then we got business stuff because we don't have a team. Like, you guys, what we pull off is the two of us.
Effectively.
Yeah. And I've debated about that if we needed like 3 or 4 other people.
Well, it's not that we don't need them. We just can't afford them yet.
Well, that's debatable.
What? Hold on a minute.
You less tiaras, we can afford them.
Okay. Yes, because our tiara budget is the problem.
What? But anyhow.
I'm just saying, if I find a closet full of tiaras in this house that's been magically hidden, and joke intended, magically hidden, I will hurt you. I'm just saying.
Honey,
there better be receipts with them.
I am. What type of witch do you think I am?
And moving right along.
I mean, that's a simple glamour spell. First years can pull that off.
I'm just saying, I'm cleaning out that closet. And there better be receipts.
Never.
Oh. What I've kind of noticed that is like one, of course, every death hits you differently, or every dying process will hit you differently. And I'm responding to Kathy right now. But yeah, there's a whole range of things that you go through, and sometimes they're in order, like the same, but sometimes like it just doesn't. Sorry, read Mika's comment. But yeah, I don't know, like sometimes it's like the tsunami hits all at once in the beginning, and sometimes it's like everything's okay, and then for some it's like you're a couple of years down the road and you really think like, I don't know, that one didn't hit me, and then all of a sudden some stupid thing happens and you're just like, wait a minute. You know, it works different for everyone. It also sometimes depends upon like the health situation. I never want to say death is a relief, but sometimes when people are in suffering, that makes death a little different of an experience. Like I've kind of had that a little bit of that experience. Not exactly, but like I know that like changed it a little.
Well, see, that was what it was with Dad. I was like, finally, and people are like, aren't you upset? Aren't you grieving? And I was more like, no, I had 11 years to do that. Like, we grieved him dying for 11 years. I walked back into the state thinking I was going to be here for 2 weeks, do a short Pentecostal 5-hour funeral, and be done with this.
Yeah.
I'm still here. And so is he. For those that don't realize, so is he.
Yes, he's in every episode.
Yes.
In case you were wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, and absolutely, grief can certainly come in waves. For Mika's joke, why do tech guys make a lot of money? They're always around Kosh.
Bing.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Sometimes IT jokes are bad, and sometimes jokes from IT people are worse.
Jokes from IT people are terrible. Like, honey, I have talked to some of your colleagues, and can we send them to, like, can we get a copy of Flat Out Funny by Robertson and send it away?
Hey, there you go.
Good deal, Kathy. Finally taking some of my advice I gave you 20 years ago. And it feels that long.
Wow. Ow, burn.
If you haven't noticed, I'm a little hot. Sorry, guys. The office is starchy. But.
And he was going to bake bread tonight.
Oh, I thought I had all this enjoyable plan of doing a show, and then after that, I was going to make some lovely bread and getting it nice and sliced. No, it's only 61 degrees and raining. My husband's will die.
Well, my exact comment was you can make all the bread you want as soon as you go up to the attic and pull down the window air conditioner. And you make all the bread you want.
And then
like I choose life.
And I explain why you don't get bread in the summer.
Exactly. But still.
So
I'm giving you the option.
Yeah.
You know, you can also get a hand truck and take the stove outside.
Again, we don't have room to store a hand truck. We do not have room to store a hand truck. Bad enough I'd buy a wheelbarrow.
Like sorry, not a hand truck. Well, I think it's technically called a hand truck, but the appliance mover.
Yes,
that is. Store that on the. Yeah, we could store that on the carport
for 5 seconds.
We could tape it down and get 10.
No, we need to make an outdoor office. 2 outdoor offices.
That is the plan, yes.
Yes. Or I'm thinking one big one with a wall in the middle, half wall in the middle, so he doesn't bring his stuff over on top of my desk.
Hey.
Hey, we've shared an office before.
True.
Every Friday, covered. Leave the desk perfectly cleaned when I leave. Come back covered.
I had stuff to do.
Uh-huh. Anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been very happy to see the interaction with the international community, with our president-elect. We know that the recount isn't going to change much at all. It rarely does. However,
oh, wow. Sorry. I just looked into Kathy's last comment. And it's snowing. They have snow.
uh-huh.
Oh. Sorry, it's 61, which means here outdoors. So that means it's a little toasty in the house.
Yep.
So I'm just kind of doing the, feel the snow, think of the snow, feel the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And, I think you discovered some of the research I do. I don't think you ever got why I keep up with so many different types of things until tonight.
Well, it's not really that. It was that one was just an oddball one. I wasn't on the radar. It wasn't. It was not on the radar.
Uh-huh. So what was off your radar?
That would be who became the prosecuting attorney in Wyoming County.
Uh-huh.
Still, okay, that's a random one.
No, it's within our coverage area.
Well, true, but still.
So,
I don't know. It just struck me as weird.
Well, yeah, but me watching lawyer shows, I believe, strike you as weird.
No, not necessarily. People have hobbies and interests.
Yeah, mine's not always just murder. For those wondering what we're talking about, Emily D. Baker is a very up-and-coming YouTuber. She's a badass lawyer, and I really like her podcast. I've watched every one of her live streams here lately.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you kind of went on a binge because there was a YouTuber that kind of got upset with her.
Uh-huh.
And filed a lawsuit against her?
No.
Yeah, it hasn't actually done that. This is related to okay.
Yeah, this is related to 2 cases.
Okay.
Case 1 is a business partner of Tati Westbrook is filed suit against the company that they're also a part of. This is where it gets confusing. They're a part of a company. It's a 1/3, 1/3 situation. So 1/3 filed a suit against the other 2/3 and included the whole company. And then there's been a YouTuber that we will not name because I really don't feel like telling a person off on Twitter. I don't need the practice. Let's just say you would think that she would be in the psychic industry. No, she's a drama channel.
Good to know.
Okay.
I was curious. I wasn't catching all the details of the case.
Yeah.
Or the situation. YouTube drama, surprise. Anyone hands that finds that there is drama on YouTube, a surprise.
Yep.
Put your hand down. You are not surprised.
But anyway, so Tati Westbrook filed a lawsuit against this YouTuber who's a drama channel for harassment because she's made 49 freaking videos over this one situation and seems to be getting information from the 1/3 party that's suing her company.
Ah.
Yeah. So I've been getting legal classes quote unquote, on management of partnerships. So if I enter a partnership, it's not a 1/3, 1/3. I am getting 34.3%.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And also
yeah,
how they
distribution never works.
Yeah, equal distribution never works. Also spelling out exactly what I expect out of each party, because that's the other problem. Because he expected that the vitamin company was also going to be the skincare company, that also was going to be the beauty company, like the makeup line company.
Okay.
It was never defined that way. But anyhow, what's more interesting is the defamation lawsuit and the things that this person is doing and waving. Like this morning, did you know if you said my lawyer said that I could XYZ, you violated lawyer client
client attorney privilege.
Yes.
There you go.
Avoided it.
Clarney. That's what actually came out of my mouth. Clarney.
Client attorney privilege. So I found that really interesting. She's got some other things. She's going to cover the Britney Spears case. Yeah.
Oh, what in Britney Spears is going on with Britney Spears? Oh, that whole man. God, that's still going on?
Yes.
Jesus, that feels like that started like last year.
No, it started 2 years ago.
Oh,
Free Britney has been going on for 2 years. Where have you
been out? Like, drag it out. Oh my God. No.
But no, I think it's really cool to actually have a lawyer on YouTube.
Well, it can be, but the only thing that gets me though is most lawyers are more like, it's kind of hard to give general advice legally. And side note, we can put in our whole thing of this is not legal advice, obviously, for so many reasons. Least of which you can't actually do that. That's part of the big thing.
Right.
But no, I mean, every situation's nuanced. You could have 5 seemingly identical situations, and each one's gonna just have a difference.
Yeah.
And so even general advice, it's your mileage could vary.
Yeah.
That may work for you, but it may work for all the wrong reasons.
Well, but at the same time, some of the things I'm learning, like if you get a harassment suit, which Lord knows I've thought of very closely here lately, passing, that you can actually restrict them from deleting it, deleting your claims. And you can actually not only damages from the claims, but if they made it was a monetized thing, you can collect money from the monetization. Who actually owns copyright to some things? That was totally interesting. Yeah.
Well, and also it's kind of, and copyright is a big one for YouTube and basically any audio video platform. That's been kind of a weirdo thing.
Well, not only that, but some of the weird things people copyright. Example, there's this romance novel that copyrighted and trademarked the term cocky.
Oh, fun.
Just the word cocky in a certain font isn't allowed to be used.
Oh, good. I was going to say, great. Now we have to pay royalties because you had to just go and say it.
Well, again, I can say that it's been copyrighted. I'm not saying that my new book coming out is going to be called The Cocky Psychic.
Nope, can't
not have that title.
There you go. But no, well, yeah. You can end up with a lot of weird things, though.
Yeah.
But right now the biggest one has been YouTube's basically anti-copyright infringement system.
Mm-hmm.
and how they've been trying to pursue that to stop copyright abuse, and the confusion that it sometimes creates for people of ultimately YouTube's getting put in a position or has become positional on whether or not copyright claims are valid or not.
Mm-hmm.
And moving into a category where it's kind of judge, jury, and executioner.
Right, because they don't want to do their research.
Do you want now?
Because if they get a DNC order, they technically have the right to choose not to do anything.
Right, but then you also have the fact that they're not even validating that the claim is legitimate.
That's what I'm saying, is they're not even validating that it's a legitimate claim.
Or that if it is a legitimate claim, that the party making the claim is legitimately making it.
Right. We went through that.
Like, I could sit here, have my own, or for instance, let's go a different way. Jane Doe out here can have a legitimate claim to a whole piece of work. We could sit on this show and stupidly read it. Verbatim, never cite it, sounds like it's us. There's a possible copyright claim. Okay, if Jane Doe, actual Jane Doe, the author, makes the claim, then we have a real battle of like, okay, is that like fair use? Did I screw this up? Did I do a bad thing? And in the situation I described, I probably did. But anyone can claim to be Jane Doe.
Well, we went through that on the show, or with the show. One of the first shows we went to video with.
Yeah, one of the early ones, we had this weird Facebook claim.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there going, what did we do? Like, that was our first response, legitimately, was what did we do?
Yeah.
Like, what are they angry about? Like, what did we...
And
like, we're just iterating through everything because the person supposedly making the claim, like, we flipped over and we're looking at their content and like, I don't even know how we could begin to overlap.
Yeah, because it's a cooking show.
Yeah, and it's totally like, no.
Yeah, not us.
Yeah, it's like...
And we still haven't figured out what caused that DNC issue. But we respond, he was like, oh my God, let's just take it down. And I'm like, oh no, we're replying back to this. Like, we're going to challenge the DNC.
That wasn't really my first response. That was more so the, like, are we gonna have to?
Right.
But my bigger response is, like, I want to understand this. Like, what did we do? Like, where is the infringing part? Because it's like, I don't see it.
Well, I finally figured out what it is.
Oh.
When we first started the show, there is a background that's built into the software we use.
Oh, did we get automated?
We got automated for that background, and we had already changed the background as soon as we went live.
Basically. Oh my God. That was it?
That was it. She uses that background. We use that background. Jeannie Robertson used that background. That background is part of what we stream with.
Okay, so yeah, that was a total automation fail.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm talking about, is sometimes it's like, that's not claimable.
Well, it's not claimable.
But if I can't tell what it is, like, because we were like scratching our heads, like, what did we talk about? What did we do? Let's rewatch the video.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how we could have overlapped. It's like, but that's all it would take.
Right. But that is why we had to change, I make sure everything is coffee shop related and personalized to us.
Okay, so that was the episode we did right after a different event where we repurposed and reused our stuff, wasn't it?
No, that was.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was.
The class, the first online class after COVID broke.
You're right. Sorry.
And we had everything kind of like, we came in and it was like, hi, honey. What we doing here? Because this doesn't look like coffee shop.
And I'm going, give me a minute to get this put together.
Yeah, so really.
Anyhow, what I've learned a lot from this is copyright and what is copyright and what is fair use and how is fair use used, and that I don't want to write romance novels or Omegaverse novels.
Well, you know. But no, it like, that's the kind of stuff that gets weird. Is that, especially in the automation side, is it's very, very easy for software to see two pieces of content and not understand what's going on.
Right.
That, like, is that a legitimate claim? But yet it kicks it out like we did something wrong. And we're sitting here and like we struggled and could not originally figure out, like, we didn't do anything.
Right.
Like, there's nothing we did.
Well, there's nothing we did. There's nothing that the software did. It's something that the automational system that handles, you know, she has a team. This also happens with music over on YouTube. A lot of times it's not the music owner that files the DNC, it's the content manager.
Well, pause there for a second. YouTube has fully automated that music ID.
Yeah.
So it's like it picks up on everything. Like, you get a couple of words into Twinkle something, something, something that is a copyright music, and all of a sudden your video gets pulled
or demonetized, which we don't have to worry about at this point because we don't have the
basically for monetization share. Like, you're going to divert your monetization over,
right?
Which literally is what it does. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And YouTubers have been really big on this one, of pointing out that this is crap.
Right.
Because there are YouTubers that are getting strikes for their own content.
Right.
Like, they go pull one of their videos and insert it into a video to talk about a thing that they previously talked about. They, in turn, get a strike against themselves by themselves for the content.
Right.
And it's like,
well, it's like if Unbuff, even if whenever we start putting Unbuff Gamer up, like, we have to change his stuff every time he hits. Like, his overlay has to be different. His thumbnail has to, I don't care if it's the same game that he's playing, we have to change the thumbnail each time.
Well, yeah, the thumbnails most definitely. But now, like, your channel can be branded. That's okay.
Right. It can be branded, but like the Welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop, if this was a gamer channel, we'd have to change that each time he games.
Okay.
To say something like Unbuff Gamer takes on Pylon 5. Unbuff Gamer takes on Pylon 5 and wins gold. You know, whatever. It has to be, the underline has to change, or the system will see it as the same video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, and again, without like
human repair.
Well, without like a lot of human input. But then there's been a lot of problems with certain game companies and specific games that are very much of the mindset that your gameplay, while unique, is effectively using their content.
That's only for one company.
Oh, it's only one now? I thought there were a few that were pulling that stunt.
Sony.
Second Life pulled that one for a while. I think they've just... Okay, I was wondering because I noticed we've started to get some people that are obviously streaming.
Right. And we can obviously stream.
Do what now?
We can obviously stream.
Right. Well, but I mean though, like we're sitting in like a gaming area
Uh-huh.
and they're doing their, oh what is it? Skippo or whatever it is.
Cheesy.
Skippo. That is what it is.
No, it's cheesy.
Oh, it's cheesy? Okay.
Yeah, that's what that trash was playing the other night. And I'm like, can you believe they came back? Really?
Yeah. But no, you'll get them and they're sitting there and they're open mic and they're just going back and forth and it's obvious you're streaming.
Yeah.
Like I get it, it's cool, whatevs. Like I'm just gonna mute like microphone sounds for right now while that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's still like it was one of those things. It's like, well, I guess they're allowing that, or those people are about to find out the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that had actually been finalized, and it's like, yeah, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, you can actually stream the game and not have an issue with it.
Okay. Well, because that's like I understand if it's like Sony and they're putting out a game and like the only thing that really may change is like your character outfit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's even of a predefined set.
Uh-huh.
Versus Second Life and a virtual world and all the different content.
Right.
Like I could understand Second Life mainland.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, Linden Lab's going to be a little cranky about that.
Uh-huh.
They built literally everything here from scratch.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, they're a little cranky.
Right.
But if you're sitting in someone else's game park, it's like you've got so many people involved in that creation because you have one person that owns the area and potentially another person who created specific parts of that area from scratch. And you have the outfits of avatars and the individual avatar skins and the individual blah, 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 blah.
All right.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun stuff. And we really like Second Life. You can't tell that is our I need time to think, let's go play cards. I need time to think and I got to make content. So let's go sit at my desk and take pictures and create content.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really liking Emily D. Baker and her style of showing the law. She likes facts, not fuckery.
Oh, now you're still in her tagline.
No, I'm sharing her tagline because that's the reason I started watching her is because I saw that tagline on Twitter and I'm like, facts, not fuckery. What the hell is this?
Well, there you go.
Although I think that should be a presidential slogan.
At this point, we'll just take we'll take a lot of things. That's where I'm at.
Well, I'm just wanting the Queen to like repossess us.
I don't know. I just keep having that moment of like sniffing hair is the weirdest, creepiest thing that Joe Biden does in the next 4 years. I think we could all agree to live with that. Like, I think after a Trump presidency, we could just all agree to live with that, couldn't we? Like, if that's the weirdest, creepiest, oddest thing to, like, for the whole presidency, and maybe a couple of tan suits, we could take that. Just me, personally, that's where I'm at. Like,
I'm really liking his black on black. Now, who's going to be the trendsetter is our vice president-elect. Like,
well, can we just not make her entire vice presidency about what she wore?
It's going to be hard. I mean, they're already clocking Dr. Biden, who plans on teaching law at Washington University her whole first term.
Which is awesome.
In her life.
I don't know. I get the feeling that's gonna be a very quick, like, oh my god, she wore the same thing twice, and it's like, yeah, this week. She just strikes me. Like, I get the feeling that like she's really had to dress up for everything going on,
Uh-huh.
and there is just like 5 pairs of mom jeans and like some cardigans
Uh-huh.
that are like what she normally wears.
Uh-huh.
Like she just how she strikes me.
Yeah.
Like it's that same thing I get with Elizabeth Warren. Is it's like clothes are a thing that I have that I bought at a point and I wear them.
Wouldn't she be nice as Secretary of Treasury?
I don't know.
Oh, I think so.
Like I'm afraid to even start on like the dream team.
I think
Um,
Elizabeth Warren, Secretary of Treasury, please. Can we have Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State again? She knows how to get a deal. Like
fair.
I would put Bernie Sanders in charge of social services. Like, if Republicans want to be a nightmare, I am going to create your ultimate White House nightmare. Every one of your enemies that hold you to court is now your secretaries.
And I have the horrible joke of Bernie Sanders in front of social services. Isn't that kind of a conflict of interest because he qualifies for a lot of them? But anyway, that was
My only holdback on Bernie Sanders is he has to get a new suit, call the tailor while he is writing, figuring out what office he wants. He's getting a new suit.
Nope, never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. And a
Never
haircut.
gonna happen. But no, I don't know. I'm not even ready for the dream. Like I've seen the article. There's an article about the possible like Biden picks for cabinet positions and all this. I'm just I'm not ready. I'm at the point in which I just hope we can get to like January 20th without like war of any variety, and he can be in office, and then I can believe in a dream team and like have that hope. Like it's too early right now for me to attach.
Oh no, honey! I've already got my list of picks. I have looked at the Democratic Party and went, "This would be good here. This would be good here." Like every one of his running mate, that was his. And I really wish they still did this because back in the 1800s, they done it. Every one of your running mates for your party, if they did not get the office, they got a cabinet position.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's still a really awesome group of people.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at is like that's a really awesome group of people to start with.
Right.
But no, I mean, I don't know.
It's
maybe
like
Bernie in social services, but I don't know. Somehow I feel like her housing and urban development.
Either way, he'd be good.
Like,
I also think Secretary of the Navy should be that general that Trump fired for standing up to him and blowing the whistle about our servicemen having COVID-19 on ship.
But we're actually supposed to get our Surgeon General back, if I remember correctly. Or at least the head of the COVID-19 task force that we should have had. That we briefly had. So yeah. Like big surprise, Democrats do not plan to keep the Trump dream team.
Well, big surprise. Well,
anyone want to raise a hand?
Because we know, January 21st, after he's sworn in, he will have a list of executive orders to put into place most of because as soon as he takes office, all those executive orders expire.
Well, but now there's a catch here. Like, there's apparently a big push from the House to not confirm. So he may end up having to do the Trump end run.
Doesn't matter. He can
acting positions. So that they don't have to go through confirmation because it's already basically been said House is going to pretty much fight him every step of the way.
If they maintain power.
Only for the next 2 years.
That's if they maintain power.
Well, we've got some options.
We got Georgia's runoff to do.
Oh, man.
So everyone that has a friend in Georgia, if they are 17, will be 18 on January 5th. Get them registered to vote. And please, if you have a brain in your head,
Okay, now wait a second. I didn't think for a runoff election that you could have new registries.
Yes, you can.
Wow. Okay, missed that one somewhere. I don't know.
Yes, you can. But anyway, everybody that has a friend in Georgia, be ringing their phone up, reminding them January 5th, they have to go vote. And we want a Democrat out of that state.
Well, more importantly, just maybe if you want to keep those friends and family in Georgia, don't do that.
No, yes.
No, the reason I say that is because even one of the reporters through the election coverage was like, here's the bittersweet part. We're going to have more ads all the way up to the runoff.
Well, again, this is not a time to get lazy, people.
Well, no, it's not a time to get lazy, but I can certainly understand the exhaustion of political ads. Like, I mean, come on. Like, you cannot say that after the last, 20 years of political ads that like, no, I have Netflix for a reason, and let me tell you, there is no way in hell
Uh-huh.
I am watching regular television for the entire year of an election.
Uh-huh.
Never gonna happen. Like, no, keep me out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have enough trouble trying to avoid them on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see any of them.
I had a few.
I kept getting that complete this survey, and it's like, no. Complete this survey. No.
No, I got a lot of Republican ads.
Yeah, it's the fleas you sleep with.
Hey, no, I think it's more so the other way, that they figured out my voting demographic and they're trying to pull me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, not gonna work. Like, no, not interested, thanks.
Yep. But point being, or multiple points being, we ain't done yet. We've got to rebuild this country. And I have a feeling a lot of red hats are going up on flames.
Oh, you did see the another one going around Facebook is the one in which the Trump gear booth has the going out of business, like everything must go sale. And it's like, oh, burn.
No, we can watch that in person here locally.
Oh, really?
Yes. Of course, they kept getting ran out of where they were set up at.
Well, sometimes the crowds. Because if you didn't see the voting results for West Virginia, that shit was popular.
Well, I've seen that shit around here, and I'm really questioning, was it popular? Or was it stacked?
How do you mean?
Well, sorry, looking at how West Virginia voted or appeared to have voted, if they're going to use election fraud, I would call election fraud here.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I personally know, though, I didn't like some of the booths. I know Mercer County, there was one, and it may just be one for a fairly decent area that just kept moving around. Because I've seen this happen a couple other places, is they would put some of those tents practically in the road.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you're interfering with traffic. Please stop doing that.
Right.
I understand you have stuff and you want to sell it, and okay, fine, whatevs.
We understand you ordered it from Wish and you're marking it up.
Or whatever you did, but it's get out of my road. Wish. Get out of my road.
Yes.
Get out of the road.
And get away from
that one. It's like, hi, you are the people that are screaming about people blocking traffic.
Uh-huh.
Do you not get?
Yeah. The other thing that has been very interesting is the evangelist repetitively, what the hell? Have you seen some of them lose their minds?
Oh, how do you mean? I'm sorry.
You have not seen the Evangel? Yes, you have. You're in the same group I'm in.
Possibly. I don't know. I'm like, okay, so evangelicals currently losing their minds?
Yes, trying to demand God come and create another election.
Oh, no, not that. Okay. Yeah. No, have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, uh,
Like, come on, guys. There's got to be better uses for, Social Security checks. Can we start defunding bad preachers?
oh, that would be lovely. That'd be lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Paula White, who is
Whoa.
here, is Paula White. You brought her up, so I get to lay out her terms. She is a drug addicted, has been drug addicted, retired stripper that doesn't have a gig anymore. That is our spiritual advisor to the current president.
Well, I'm not even going to go into someone's past. Just take her present. Like that's bad enough.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's real. She's been really exploitative.
Well, not only that, but I really think that she should lose her tax exemption.
Mm. The lot of debatability around that. I think it's open and closed in many cases that you could be like, yeah, this is not an activity you're supposed to be in. Thanks, have a great day.
Uh-huh.
You know, but then we've made so many political issues religious, or religious issues political, kind of the crosshair. I like at this point, I don't even know if you can separate politics and religion. It's like there is so much intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making the point
Well,
that
I
we're
think
so intertwined.
the church,
Right.
minute a church becomes political, they lose their tax exempt status because they're meddling in the affairs of church and state. It ain't that hard to do. It's sure as hell to get tax exempt status.
Well, and I can even go so far as to, if you don't want to respect him, that's great, but just remember all the things that were said in the last 4 years. Repeat them back to yourself in front of a mirror.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to take the time to throw them back in your face.
I don't have time, nor do I have area to remove to replant it.
Yeah.
But point blank, I think that is something the House and the Senate and the executive branch needs to bring up. Ashley, go drink a glass of wine.
What?
She says still no baby yet.
Oh, but no, don't drink wine. Bad for baby.
Relax it. Let the baby go on. And see, that's the message Biden is giving, is that our country needs to heal. We need to get back to being American.
See?
Debatable. There's been an old adage to eat a piece of pepperoni, have a glass of Pinot Noir, and you will go into labor.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile, my mother drank with me, I'm sure, and nothing ever wrong with that. Sorry, I make that joke every time.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. There are still things that they say causes birth defects, and I still think most of it is akin to DNA. And because we are humans and yet to understand the complexity of DNA to begin with, other than a criminal prosecutional stance, our medical community is behind. I think in 100 years, we will look back and be horrified.
Well, I totally agree that we will look back in a few years and maybe a few decades and be horrified. I just have to kind of sit back and say, but until we know for sure, like, okay, is this totally about the alcohol and not the people, just don't do it. Like, just in case you're a people that it affects, like, don't do that. Don't take the risk. Like, you've chosen to bring life into the world, and best start possible. Like, go for the best start possible.
But speaking of medicine, we do have good news from Pfizer. We may have a vaccine that is 90% effective. We will continue to test it. Hopefully by February, we will be free to get our vaccine and start our life again.
Oh, will be lovely.
Yes.
One day. But yes. Oh. Okay, on Ashley. I got a little lost there, but she, I think, was talking about the vaccine.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, got a little lost there. I was like, what? Okay, got it now. But yeah, no. I mean, okay, have the glass of wine if you get to the point in which it's like, grab a chainsaw and cut this baby out of me now. Like, then consider the wine. Like, wine chainsaw. Like, I don't know. Okay. Ooh. Apparently there was a death during the trials for the vaccine, which unfortunately does happen. Clinical trials can, unfortunately, there's bad things that happen. This is why we have clinical trials, is to find out what those are. And sometimes it really, really is a case of sometimes if you have like a 1 in a million or a 1 in 100,000 opportunity, it's better not for the person it happens to, but it is a better set of odds than getting the disease. And the hope is you can find out what markers identify that person and avoid giving them the injection at all.
Right.
Like, or the medication or whatever it is. Like, that's a hard one to sit and have. And it's not that their human life is worth less. It's that if you have to gamble between getting a disease and potentially dying from it and taking a vaccination that may cause problems, if those numbers are low enough, sometimes and again, individual decision, sometimes you'll weigh that risk differently.
What also came out is 1 in 5 develop mental illness after having COVID.
Well, let's hope those are not long-term.
Yeah.
I mean, again, sometimes, like, you get sick and you get things that go with that. And, the hope is,
well, there's been this...
Please let that pass.
What's the name of the Pfizer drug? It's totally different from the AstraZeneca drug. There's 2 different ones. The Pfizer drug is the vaccine. AstraZeneca is trying to work on a cure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so AstraZeneca is working treatment side versus yeah. And again, I still hate it. Like, I never wanted to sound, as it's coming out of my mouth, like it's a good thing that he died. It's not.
Right.
When we're talking about, clinical trials. However, sometimes you just have to weigh the risks. and what are you preventing, and what is your likelihoods versus, yes, this horrible thing happened.
Right.
Or this can happen to certain individuals.
Right. Mental illness is being followed after coronavirus. 1 in 5 are finding that, being diagnosed with that. The Washington Post, however.
Okay, when we talk about mental illness, though, are we talking about cognitive decline? Are we talking about depression? Like, where are we at?
Anxiety, mental breakdowns. They're saying the same risk factor to a heart attack, because 1 in 5 get a heart attack, 1 in 5 get a mental disorder or mental illness.
Okay, something tells me we need to dig into that one a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very odd to run into mental illness that's just occurs because you got sick. Now, that said, as in direct cause and effect, like the illness caused you to become mentally ill. Now, there are some effects that you can have, or just the situation you're in, that it's already a high anxiety situation, and now you are increasing that because now you've been sick, you've been through it, you're scared, you've had your mortality moment.
This is what happens in chronic illnesses. There is a large band of depression and anxiety that follow chronic illness.
Well, and that goes back to the chicken and egg part of that. Is it that the chronic illness also has a symptom of, or is it that because you have a chronic illness that has decreased your quality of life, hence now you're also having to try to cope with that, and that presents as a mental illness such as depression.
Right. Now, what I've always kind of tied into there and been very much about, and was talking to you about this when you had surgery, was what I call bypass syndrome.
Okay.
That every time they put someone on a bypass machine or a ventilator, they come back out with more health problems, weakened lung tissue, and mental problems.
Okay. Well, and then there's also the issue, like you've brought up, with anesthesia. That, funny things happen with anesthesia. That some people tolerate it beautifully. And, you could knock them out every single day of the year, and they're just going to pop right back up, our wonderful little weebles of anesthesia. You can knock them out, but they don't fall down. But then you also have people that do not tolerate it.
No.
That anesthesia is the worst thing you could have possibly done to them.
Especially mentally. Like, not even physically. I mean, physically it's fine. But a lot of anesthesia, if you look at people that have anesthesia and you look over the next year of their life, there are multiple mental problems. There's cognitive thinking problems. There is, and especially with the anesthesia we use nowadays, it's much different from the anesthesia that were used in the late 60s and early 70s of ether or nitrous oxide and a mix of nitrous oxide and ether. We're using a whole different chemical set there that physically affects the mind. I mean, because, example, when you came out of surgery, you were a basket case for about 3 days.
Okay.
Like nothing made sense.
Well, I do remember very early on, like having that moment where I clearly remember not knowing if I was still under, and I was in surgery, and this was all a dream. Like there was that like surrealness. But then again, I didn't have my glasses for a while, so everything's kind of a Van Gogh painting for me at best. But I do remember, like, there was a period there, like, I don't know if this is actually happening or if I'm dreaming this.
Right.
And if I'm dreaming this, why couldn't I dream with better vision?
Right.
Like, what the hell? Now that I remember, the fentanyl, I actually had that before my gallbladder surgery over a decade ago. They actually had me for about 12 plus hours before surgery on a fentanyl Phenergan drip.
Right.
I felt no pain. None. And I remember just being totally wonked out.
Right.
Like everything was beautiful. Everything was wonderful. I again felt no pain. And I was just kind of like, meh. And it was like, that's how they kept me until I had surgery. I would have been on cloud 9 if I had been awake enough to realize it.
Right.
Like, that's where they were holding me.
Right. But after after your last surgery, which we kind of expected this, because you're not my first patient. That first month after surgery, honey, I think, if I had presented you legal documents, you could have done anything.
Okay.
Like, your critical thinking skills failed.
Oh, well, yeah. Now, but with my first neck surgery, they've had to have used something different.
Right.
Because I came out of that clear as a bell, correcting the nurse and, witty.
Right.
Like, I had no problems popping out of that one. I did not go into that, like, I didn't have my queen moment, I guess you could call it, of, is this real life or is this just fantasy, like Bohemian Rhapsody? I wasn't having a Bohemian Rhapsody moment.
Right.
Like, I was popped in. Now, I don't know if there was a period before that. I was like, woo. But to me, it was like I had the surgery and then boom, I'm awake. And I couldn't get my glasses then either. I don't know what it is. Like, every time I've had surgery, I've had to fight to get my damn glasses.
Well, that's because you always give them to somebody else other than your partner.
Well, but no, it's not even that. It's like every time there's some argument over my glasses and giving them to me. Meanwhile, they want me to sign shit. Every time there's something they want me to sign. And I'm like, hi.
Yeah.
Like, do you realize how this conversation is going to go if it's something important?
Well, again,
like,
that's why
it's going to be, we're in a court of law. I hit the stand and go, well, I didn't have my glasses. I didn't get to read it.
Again,
I could not have possibly read it.
Leading up to the whole day, I prepped you. If you want you to sign anything, make me sign it. When they want you to do anything, I make decisions. Because we knew you were going to do this. I had seen you on the simple stuff they use for the teeth.
What?
You had a cavity filled, and dear gods, honey, you were loopy for a week.
Oh.
Not
bad. We're not that bad.
You were a good bit of it.
Wasn't that bad.
But these are why it's highly important to have a POA, to have someone there that knows this drill and is like, no, he said no, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, and that can certainly be a problem. Like, I think if you are in that, like, post-op recovery phase, leave us alone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, like, you really think in a court of law later they're going to compare the drugs I was on at the time versus, like, if this is seriously that important, like, this may come down to this is a legal requirement. Like, maybe don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I found
Um,
fascinating is they couldn't figure out if you could eat or not. And I'm like, he's already ate. We've already gave him coffee. Like, get a clue, woman.
well, yeah, because like I totally missed the welcome to your room speech.
Uh-huh.
Like I thought,
Uh-huh.
stupid me, but every time I've been in a hospital, there are like set meal times.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're gonna get a breakfast, you're gonna get a lunch, you're gonna get a dinner.
Uh-huh.
And that first night after surgery, I just kept waiting.
Uh-huh.
Lo and behold, they just have a 24-hour, like, Uber or like Uber Eats or whatever. What is it?
They have a 24-hour dial by name directory of what you would like to eat when you would like to eat.
Well, but that's what I mean, though, is like room service.
Exactly.
Like you just call.
Mm-hmm.
No one explained that. And then, like, we finally found out about it because I think you were going around the room and just happened to be like, oh, look, here's the menu. And we started looking at it and it was like, wait, we can call it any time?
Yeah.
Like, I already sent him out for, like, Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, because that's what you wanted. But honey,
Well, what I wanted, and I was like getting to a point of,
your diet put into the system.
well, I know, but I was having the bigger issue with like, I guess they're not bringing me anything. Like I missed dinner or something. Like they must serve it at 3 p.m.
Uh-huh.
Like, God, how old are the people on my floor?
Yeah, but I had this conversation with you, and I said, honey, you can have anything you want. All I got to do is get the nurse to change your diet, or I can go get you something. And you're like, I want Cracker Barrel, I want chicken livers and double mac and cheese. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get you something.
Well, it worked. I ate.
Exactly. Of course, WVU has good food, but
Well, yeah, their food was great. That wasn't the problem. I just didn't know how this worked. I was totally clueless.
yeah.
I'm just sitting there going, bring me, like, I expected, like, it would be the first meal. We don't know what you wanted. So we just kind of threw one together for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I figured at some point they'd come around, like, the little, like, I'm used to Princeton Community. They do the little dietitian comes around and she takes your little order down. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get discharged before you ever get food that you wanted.
Uh-huh. Well, again, these are things that your husband takes care of easily. It's like booking your surgery. We got that booked easily to me. I mean, I didn't have to curse anybody out. All I had to do was clarify who I was, and they immediately reacted to you.
Well, but like, yeah, that wasn't an easy schedule to get over to the surgeon. That was the hardest part. Like booking the surgery was fairly decent.
Uh-huh.
Getting to the surgeon, that was the nightmare.
Well, I just called central scheduling and threw a fit. Well, I didn't even say fit. They have warnings on me.
Well, but it was one of those moments I fell through the cracks.
Right.
Like they lost me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how they lost me. I don't know how that occurred, but I got lost.
Right.
Is what we ultimately found out is they were like, who?
Uh-huh. And I was like,
oh, I've got nothing.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, let me call and get that letter sent back over then. And before I could get one call made, they were already on the phone with you.
Well, yeah. Meanwhile, you're sending me messages going, yeah, they're supposed to call you back sometime this week.
No.
And I'm like, I am already on the phone doing the pre-intake.
Right.
Like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, these are the fun things that we've had to learn to negotiate, because otherwise I just make the decisions. I just deal with it. They know me by voice now. It's like, oh shit, they look at the caller ID and I think a screen pops up, because even when we went for like your MRI, your CT scan, security looked at me and said, he go that way. Like, didn't even ask, didn't even care. Like, we know where you're headed. You know.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm just used to certain things that were not happening.
Yeah.
And these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got for that. Is like these things happen. I've been in that hospital environment, and I think one of the worst stories I have as a volunteer
Mm-hmm.
was the one and only time I really seriously considered hitting a panic button.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a spouse who their spouse was in surgery, and that spouse's sister was there.
Mm-hmm.
And the sister got told before the spouse,
Mm-hmm.
and oh wow, did the spouse get angry?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there was already like a family problem
Uh-huh.
between the two. Like they were very no with
Mm-hmm.
each other. The irony was the spouse having surgery had actually specified it. So we're in the situation of I'm sorry, but your spouse actually didn't elect to have you have any information.
Mm-hmm.
Like legitimately, no.
Uh-huh.
Tell my sister. So I don't know what she was or the spouse was doing or
Uh-huh.
what the sister had done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it got ugly in that waiting room. Let me tell you, it
Uh-huh.
was bad. And
Uh-huh.
I'm standing there thinking, we're going to have to call security. Like,
Uh-huh.
because the spouse was ready to take out an administrator. And we're like, oh, no, you don't.
I've been
Like,
there.
no, you don't. No, you don't.
I've been there with your predecessor, Raleigh General. No, it wasn't Raleigh General. It was Appalachian Regional. Got a
Mhm.
quick lesson in what a lovely POV is, and a MPOV.
MPOA and a POA.
Yes.
Sorry. POV is a porn term, honey. Point
Well,
of
it's
view.
another legal term too.
I don't know.
Yeah, because literally they quickly learned that no, oh fuck, he is not just a friend, he is not just a roommate, he is the medical power of attorney. And yes, you will grant access to him and anything else he wants today, this minute, or we will lose federal funding on so many levels.
Well, there is that can happen. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, before me is what you were more so trying to say. I was getting confused. I was like,
Uh-huh. Before you.
okay,
Yes, before you.
but no, got it now.
On the medical, you've calmed me down on the medical community because there is probably a red flashing sign.
At least to help Mika so she wouldn't wonder all night,
Uh-huh.
where have I seen those letters before? Um
Yeah. And to Brenda, yeah, there's probably a red flashing, if they have facial recognition, there's probably a red flashing screen that comes over every system in the ward that's probably like, oh fuck, the bitch is back. Oh fuck, the person that will call the ombudsman and has their number in his speed dial for their home is here behind your P's and Q's.
well, not always a bad thing.
Yeah, not always a bad thing. There is a few RNs that I have their license on my belt.
Well, there you go. But yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just having a debt collections equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
Like we used to occasionally get calls to stop collections on an account.
Uh-huh.
And they actually called someone a VI. There was a particular hospital. All of those debtors had to be moved to VIP status because effectively either they or someone they were immediately related to were major hospital donors.
Mm-hmm.
Or were on the board or like whatever. There was some connection there.
Uh-huh.
Or they themselves were
Uh-huh.
on the board, whatever. And it struck me almost hilarious is this Portal Community Hospital was having to effectively silently accept that these people were going to come in, have surgery, and the hospital was going to eat it.
Uh-huh.
These people were going to come in, have a major medical stay, and the hospital had to eat it to save face. And I was like, are you nuts? Like, embarrass a few of these people. You might get some money in. Like, make the, eat the rich. Make them a little fearful of other people throwing this back at them. It's like, you're on the board. Pay your bill.
Well, and it's not that I'm on the board of any of these hospitals. It's that, no, I will call the insurance ombudsman and explain to them why an RN cannot wipe off, and have them explain to me why an RN cannot use an alcohol wipe to clear off a vial before making an injection that has been already injected into. I will also call the nursing board and ask why a nurse cannot wash her hands before touching a patient. I will also call civil services and ask them why this hospital isn't respecting patients' rights to refuse or rights of treatment. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah. Well, and understandably so. Like these are not things that one should really have to be concerned about calling about. But I do know that there are issues that come up, especially in small local hospitals. I know sometimes, and actually heard this more on the debt collection side, just to clarify, so no one's like, wait, you volunteered at XYZ hospital, it's the only one you volunteered at. No, it didn't come up as much there, strangely enough. You would have thought, but no. Heard it on the debt collection side. That a lot of small hospitals, and granted 10-year-old information, a lot of small hospitals were struggling at the time, back in like 2005, 2010, that range, were struggling to get their small community hospital staffs to understand HIPAA and get it through your head that you can't go walking around talking about patient stuff. You cannot call your friend, Brenda, the minute her son shows up at the emergency room. There's a whole slew of things that have to happen first. Like, needs to be unconscious for one. Like, you can't call just because you know her and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened. Like, your son's over here with a light bulb up his ass. You can't do that. You cannot turn around, and no matter how good of a little Christian you are, go to church on Sunday and list off every patient you saw. Little tiny hospitals were having problems with this. Some of it was very well intentioned. It was honestly not getting it.
Well, it's not
like you can't do that.
Well, it's like patient rights or rights of a medical power of attorney. I don't know how many people I have to educate and have had to educate on that. Or partners' rights. I'm finding myself having to educate people every freaking day about, no, that is partners' rights. You don't get to do that.
Yeah. Well, there is some amount of that and again, it kind of comes back sometimes to smaller, more rural areas. And places that are more socially conservative, or, however you want to put that, that are just not there yet. I think mentally they're just not getting it. And it's like, it's like they don't know anyone in the situation. They've not been through the situation. They're just not processing it. It's sort of like the moments at the bank that on some level I almost find cute. Like, I try to find it cute and go almost there, but not for,
well,
a lady at the bank who just cannot, she is stuck. She doesn't get it. Like, and it wasn't rude. Like, it wasn't like that, But like, that's just not part of her world. She doesn't think in those words. And she just immediately made assumption after assumption.
And then she got it handed right back to her when we dealt with her.
Oh, yes.
I had no problem going, well, here is her driver's license, and here is her signing it.
And, I still don't think she caught it. I just think she was sitting there at that window, and I swear to God, I think this was probably someone sitting there going, that poor woman, her hormone replacement ain't doing shit.
Well, that's okay.
Like, that's where I think that might have been.
Well, again, that's okay until COVID is over. I will give that bank passes until COVID is over. But the first time we're dealing with them in person and she pulls a stunt like that, I'm going to say, I need to speak to your bank president. Because I've about had it on a few of them.
Well, honey, as small as that branch is, their bank president may also be the janitor and like the other teller.
No, I know who the bank president is. It's the one that we sat down and had a conversation with.
Oh, not Hair.
Yes, Hair.
Oh, please, not Hair. Like, she's sweet.
Uh-huh.
I cannot handle a conversation with her for just looking at her hair going, you bless your heart. Like, I don't know who told you that hairstyle looked good, but no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No one looks good in that hairstyle ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. The 90s called Scream wants its hair back.
Yes. Either that or it's the dude that we were talking to mortgage with. Either way, I'm not going to have a problem laying out just how, I don't know, uncommunity based that comment and statement is and how demeaning it is to begin with.
Well, again, I still think she was just not, like, I think it went right over her head. Like, I don't know. Maybe there was malice. Maybe there was. I could be wrong. I tend to start at the, okay, best possible light, lots of grace. Could this be like, honestly, she did not get it. And I don't know. I kind of get, like, she was super friendly. She was great at her job. Minus that part. I didn't pick up, like, she was sitting there like, oh my God, they're back again. Like, I didn't get that. It's like she wasn't sitting there through clenched teeth, like, oh my God, get out my lane. Like, next. She wasn't there. She wasn't like DMV employee like level, like, now.
We've never had a problem with DMV. They are very friendly to me.
Sorry, I'm more used to North Carolina DMV.
I never had a problem with North Carolina DMV.
Oh, I hated North Carolina DMV. I swear to God, they're all robots. Well, I have never met. Pardon?
I never had a problem out of them. I guess I just reprogrammed them.
No, I'm not saying I had a problem specifically. Like, no one did anything wrong. It's just, it was that kind of like 1,000-yard stare and like, next.
Well, see, I've never had that problem. I walked in there getting ready to go work. So I had on my boots and they're like, how high are you out of heels? How,
And maybe that's all it took was, go in, be different. Like something to shock them back. But the ones I got were like The Walking Dead. They just, 1,000-yard stare, monotone voice, no eye contact, no facial expression, just like, How can I help you today? You are in the wrong line. But I will take care of that for you. I mean, just nothing.
See, I never have
And
that
it's like,
experience.
how do you, like... But that was every time I had to deal with someone in the North Carolina DMV system. It was like, oh my God. Did they order a batch of robots?
Well, so I guess it was before me because, I had to change titles. I had to get a new driver's license. I had to get new plates. I had to go and get other licenses because North Carolina DMV conducts more than just driver's license, or at least the location I did, because we had to get corporate plates for a truck and this, that. Never had a problem. Walk in. Hi, how you doing? This is what I need. Okay. And then they'll get to like certain questions because, of course, my writing's terrible. And they're like, how tall are you? Out of heels?
Fair question. Fair question. But no. So Kathy does have a question, but before we get there, no, every experience I had with the North Carolina DMV was exactly identical.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, okay. Just like, like if they tell me I have to go into the back, I'm running. Like that kind of level experience. Like, you know what I mean? Like sort of that Children of the Corn, really.
Right.
But yeah.
And even West Virginia DMV, I never have it. Brenda even agrees with me that they've always been friendly. I always see how I can work around them.
Well, now West Virginia DMV, I'm more familiar with the Princeton office, and I'm just gonna I will totally shade them. They're awesome, but that was also the office that had the regional manager or the whatever office manager, whatever they're called, the district manager, I think. They had the one that was, I believe, embezzling. I believe, and let's put an allegedly on that. But like they changed.
Mm-hmm.
They went from being like the coolest, like they were decent, they were really good, but they were always friendly and whatever. And to suddenly they were like afraid. I don't know what the state did to that office in turning it inside out to figure out what all was going on financially. But, wow, they traumatized a lot of employees.
Well,
like all of them were suddenly just like, I don't know if I can do that. Like there was that level of like everyone needs a Xanax, a hug, and a brownie.
Well, again, I don't know what they've done. Of course, the only time I ever dealt with the Princeton office was when I had to take my DMV driver's test, and my observer was named Crazy Coyote.
Okay.
And literally, for those that know where the Princeton driver's test office is, my driving test was exactly this. We got in the car after he checked all my little lights and the horn worked. We backed out of the parking spot. We drove around to Kroger's and drove through Kroger's and then turned around and drove back to the Princeton driving office, and he handed me a passing slip and offered my father, who had glaucoma at the time, his driver's license.
Oh gosh. No, I kind of figured out I passed my driving test when I did the parallel park in one motion. I was driving a Ford Festiva, side note, tiny little car. It was real easy to parallel park in one motion because for the driving test, they really do set those cones far apart. They give you as much leeway as they can. Or they did for mine. Like I could have parked a semi truck between those cones. I swear to God.
I don't even remember parallel parking, dear.
Right. But like for mine, like I did it as one motion and I was getting ready to pull forward and he said, no, you're good. Keep going. And I was like, okay. And that should have been my clue, but I was the whole way like, I'm not going to get my driver's license. I'm not going to get my driver's license. Okay, that's okay. I'll do the test again. It'll be okay. Like, it wasn't like he was sitting there screaming. It's just that's kind of one of my things. I always assume I'm going to fail every test, and that's okay. I'm just here for the practice. That every job interview I go on, I'm not getting the job. This is practice. It's okay. It's cool. Like, I've done that for so many years. It's backwards, but I actually end up more relaxed, and I get the cool surprise of like, I passed. And then the weird moment of people looking at me like, and you thought you didn't? Basically, that was the assumption I ran under.
And I'm keep working on that programming. All right, so let's take this question and wrap up this show.
All right, so Kathy, 72862, what approximate height is Triz and nationality?
I would say American.
Okay. And am I going to Utah, or does he come here?
I suggest him coming there because Utah is terrible to visit.
And I'm sorry, the height again? Was that 6'1"?
6'1".
Okay.
6'1", 225.
Okay. Well, that's our question.
That's
been a question night. I kept waiting. I was like, it's the second coffee shop. You can send questions.
Well, yeah.
Like, slow turning it on, but that's okay. You guys know it's not like this is new. Like,
well, still.
Well, I mean, for the regulars, they usually are like, good to go.
I know.
They know.
But no, it's been fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, and Kathy, while I have you here, go ahead and try the appointment thing now that we fixed your other issues.
Absolutely. So of course we always want to thank our Patreon supporters, and I know a show a while back we forgot, and again we apologize. But thank you so much for your support to Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, and the Crystal Lotus Shop, located at 89 Old Main Plaza in St. Albans, West Virginia. If you're in the area, make sure you stop in. And if you want to learn more about becoming a Patreon sponsor or about us and the show, please visit PCSPnetwork.com.
Yep. And guys, I am making updates to the site. I've been working on that most of the day, so I will let you know when those updates are finished. But if you happen to go onto the site and something isn't working, that's because I'm working on it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but also you were talking about, you try to have grace and everything. After 2020 is over, I'm done with being graceful.
You were?
I've been very graceful. I've been really nice.
I'm calling that my best one-liner of 2020 right there.
Okay.
But yes. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. And of course, we'll be back on Friday for Mountain Bears, I do believe.
Yes, and we will be talking about the M1. And no, I'm not talking about a new missile. We're talking about the bullshit Apple is pulling. We will also probably be talking about some stuff that has gone before the Supreme Court. Would love for you guys to hear your thoughts on some of this, because even some of the Supreme Court justices are tired of this shit. Right?
Like, I'm sorry, that's a pretty good quote, like, for short quotes for Supreme Court justices, is just stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully we'll, have some more on that one as well.
Yep. And we will keep you updated on the Tati incident for our YouTube beauty viewers. There's also a lawsuit and a couple more other things that I'm watching on YouTube that we'll be bringing to the show because I think they're interesting, even if you don't own a business.
Absolutely. And we forgot to even mention it's Veterans Day, guys.
Yes. Happy Veterans Day.
Is that a happy one?
Yes.
I never know on that one. Do you wish someone a happy Veterans Day? Like, I never think that's a good thing to say.
Yes, it's just like saying Happy Father's Day.
Oh, okay, got that one. But moving right along.
Moving right along, it'll also be my Keen anniversary day. So we will have to figure out what you're going to do with that.
Your Keen-iversary?
Yeah, my Keen-iversary.
Your Keen-iversary.
Uh-huh. It's going to be interesting what they do, because normally I get a great email, but this one's kind of a mile marker. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And we'll be talking a little bit about when you've worked at a company for so long that you can see through some BS.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
That'll be awesome. So until then, guys, have a great night, great week, and remember, stick to the facts, have fun. Remember, we just have 71 days to go. Let's get there.
Almost there.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Night, Joe.